In the modern game of rugby, one of the key causes of rugby injuries is the tackle situation, both in the process of tackling and being tackled. The majority of rugby injuries come from this aspect of play, and therefore one should address this component thoroughly. Coaches should practice the basics of tackling on a regular basis, as it is the core rugby skill that can only develop properly over time and through repetition. Humans are creatures of habit, and by repetition one can ensure that tackling becomes instinctive and can be performed safely. It should be stated that the most effective tackling technique is the safest one. So here is Pol Tryu, the Springbok Sevens coach, to take you through the necessary steps of creating an effective tackle situation.
Good morning, guys. How do you feel today?
Good.
Excellent. The focus of today's training, guys, will be on the front end tackle, as this is the tackle with the most risk of injury and also occurs the most frequently in the game. One of the most important factors in the front end tackle is to deny the attacking players space and options. To dominate the tackle situation, we need to control the environment and make it more predictable. In order for that to happen, we need to track the play effectively. So what do you guys see as the most important points in controlling the tackle situation and tracking a play effectively?
Staying square to your opponent. And always attack your opponent's inside shoulder.
Paul, what does it mean, attacking your player's inside shoulder?
Well, coach, you always hit the shoulder, which is furthest away from the touchline, and therefore you use the touchline as another defender.
That helps us to deny the opponent some space, and that's another big rule, to deny them space.
And always shuffling sideways and do not cross your feet.
And why is it important not to cross your feet? If I can show you quickly, if I'm the attacking player, I'm attacking Rainford. Pass, dummy, off balance, and beat him on the inside. In this 1v1 tracking drill, we're trying to use the touchline as an extra defender by lining up on the inside shoulder of the player and pushing him towards the touchline. In this 3v2 tracking drill is basically an extension of the 1v1, and the two defenders will mark up on the attacking players, and as the first player releases the ball, they will slide towards the third player. Once you can effectively track your player, you can deny your opponent's space and control and dominate the tackle situation. What do you guys see as a checklist how you can actually make an effective tackle?
Face up.
Face up. Sticky, if you can just come forward and just try to make a tackle on Rainford with your head down. And what is wrong with this?
Well, it's dangerous. He could hurt himself.
Exactly, guys. This is not effective and it will increase the risk of neck injuries and concussion. What else?
And you can't see where you're going.
You can't see where you're going. Exactly. Okay, Sticky, just step back and then you go for a proper tackle. Okay, that's it. Just to reinforce our key points is chin of the chest, face up and eyes open. Now that you have your eyes open, where are you going to focus?
You focus on the point of contact.
And that should be your core, because your feet can always be deceiving. Your body goes where your core goes.
Now that we know where to focus, the next thing we're going to do in preparation for contact, we're going to look at the spine in line. So Frankie, if you can just come forward and just do a quick demonstration for us. Okay, what is wrong with this, guys? You can see his spine is curved. Definitely what we need to do is, Frankie, if you can just tuck your back a bit, all right? Just straighten, squat a little bit lower, and you can definitely see there, much straighter back, which is more explosive, safer and more effective. In this modified eye-line drill, our focus is not to drop your shoulders, but just to drop your buttocks, and just to keep your face up and your eyes open. So in this drill, we're focusing on core versus footwork. Once again, if you land, if you're not on the balls with your feet, that is what's going to happen. Just keep your focus on the core of the player and you won't be beaten on the inside or the outside. You see, Once again, Marius, flat-footed, no balance, he can't change direction. Guys, just keep on the inside, keep your focus on the core. The focus of the defending player will be to focus on the core of the attacking player and not on his footwork, as it is very deceptive. Samai, well done, that's a good one. What we're going to focus on next is to keep the head to the side, and what we're talking there about is cheek to cheek. And guys, what do we mean by cheek to cheek?
Face cheek to bum cheek.
So just to show you guys what we mean by cheek to cheek, Frankie, if you can just step back and just put your hand in front of the player. Okay, so you can see guys, clearly, you're putting your neck at risk of being injured. What you want to do is you want to keep your head on the outside of the player, which is on that side. So Frankie, if you can just go on that side and then put your cheek to his bum cheek, all right? And then you're going in with your hard parts, which is your shoulder, into his core, which will make the tackle more effective. Well done, Frankie, well done, guys. Okay guys, what we're going to do in this drill is very simple and easy. The defending player is just going to keep his hands behind his back to get your head on the outside of the attacking player. Well done, Servi. Just keep your head on the side.
Yes,
Outside of the player. Alright, front of the player. Keep your head to the side. We've dealt with body position. What we're going to do next is we're just going to take it a step back, and we're going to take a look at how to effectively approach a player. So if I can just get Wani to move over to that side, and just approaching Marius, coming from that side, and try to make the tackle. Okay guys, the reason why this is a bad example is because he has planted his feet and he can't change direction. Wani, can you just take a step back and just go again? Shorten your steps this time and just keep moving. Just step back. What do you think, why was that better than the first one?
Much better, prevents them from being wrong-footed, and it's much easier to change direction.
Yes, of course, but it's only going to work if you're on the balls of your feet.
And by not planting your feet, you keep moving and putting pressure on your attacker.
Thank you, Skulk. Also, guys, what's important as you approach the attacking player is to go into your boxer stance. If you have your arms open like this, right, you have no leverage going into the player. Just put up your arms. You can see there, guys, if I push him there, he has no control. So apart from having no leverage, what's important is if you raise your arm like this, you could injure your neck and your shoulder, and you could run the risk of conceding penalties by tackling high. Just go into your boxer stance, and you can see there's a lot more power going into the tackle. You can control it, which is much safer and also more effective. We're just going to run towards the first cone, all right, and then quick feet, and then you continue to the second cone. So you can shorten your steps towards the target, towards the contact, and then you just continue running. Okay, so let's give it a go. Well done, Paul. Okay, so what we're going to focus on next is the dip and step with the lead foot into the contact. So Paul, if you can come forward just to demonstrate this. Sticky, if you can take the ball and be the attacking player on this side. So we can just focus on the dip and the step and going with your lead foot. Excellent, Paul. What we've seen here is a nice hit and stick. Also good to see is that he's using his arms very effectively. So Paul, if you can just step back, just do it again and slowly. Just get nice and tight into the player, nice step, tuck the player towards you. There's no separation between the ball carrier and the tackler. And also, Paul, you can see here, is nice and low, it's a better control over the tackle, and you will see the leg drop. In this drill, we're just working on the small steps, and you can see that the player is approaching, he's making his steps smaller and then engaging into the defense. So what this drill gives us is that it prevents you from dropping your shoulders, it makes you keeping your face up and also keeping your eyes on the target. In this drill, we will look at going into the contact with the same leg, same shoulder, and also getting the lead foot nice and close up into the contact. With this hit and stick drill, what we're trying to emphasize is that there shouldn't be any separation between the ball carrier and the defender, and also to tuck the attacking player towards you, and then to use your leg drive.
The smother tackle is an advanced variation of the tackle where the tackler is more upright in defense and attempts to wrap his arms around the ball and the attacker's arms. The tackle is performed at the target and above the waist level and below shoulder height. This form of a tackle is not recommended for younger and less experienced rugby players. It is more confrontational and the risk of injury is higher. As players become more skilled, proficient, better coached in rugby and have sufficiently mastered the normal tackle which occurs around the waist height, only then should they attempt to use the smother tackle.
Now we're going to focus on the difference between a normal tackle and a smother tackle. We'll take the normal tackle first, incorporating everything that we've done up until now. In a smother tackle, you're trying to lock up the ball to prevent the ball carrier to offload in the tackle. Well done, well done. Shorten your step. Focus on the key points. And that's it for tackles.
Regardless of what level of rugby you are playing, it is extremely important to dedicate time to training the correct tackle and ball carry techniques. This will not only make it safer during matches and training, it will also allow you to dominate and better control the contact situation.